Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about the video game industry. Apparently there is a massive content drought looming because, God forbid, AAA studios won't be making as many games as they were making because so many people working in the AAA game space have been laid off. But you know, there are a lot of indie games out there, and you know, Palworld's bringing out some new pals, and people are playing old games. And yeah, you know, we really don't need the AAA games. And I think this is really kind of what's going on behind the scenes with backlash toward games like Stellar Blade and, you know, Palworld and so many others, right? I think that there are alternatives out there, and I think it's making the AAA studios look very bad. Now, I don't think Stellar Blade is actually considered a AAA title, but it is a Sony exclusive, at least for now. I read that it is coming out for PC. I think when it comes out for PC, hopefully Shift Up will have the good sense to release the uncensored version, because they promised gamers the game would not be censored, and yet here it is. But I think the reason that everything has become such a battleground now is that people are out of work and they're angry and they're blaming the chuds and they're blaming everybody. They're not blaming themselves. God forbid, you know, they blame themselves for putting out subpar product. It's the chuds who hate the DEI mandates, and it's the chuds who make the YouTube videos attacking our games. That's the reason why, you know, our multi-million-dollar game failed, because, you know, every person that was going to buy that game obviously is on YouTube, obviously is on Twitter. You know, but when you live online, when you're terminally online, it seems like that's it. You're there, you're online, you're taking in all this feedback, you're sparring with the chuds, and you think that is the entire world. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Embracer Group CEO saying he does deserve some criticism after the mass layoffs. You think, yeah, I deserve some criticism. Yeah, maybe I did noopsie-doopsie. But it's not just that, dude. The reason beyond the spending spree that so many of these studios had to shutter is that the games that were being put out were garbage. Saints Row, you know, whatever the hell they're doing the Tomb Raider. I think it's the brand damage has been done to that. People aren't buying the games. And I don't know what he thought he was going to do. Like, you buy all these studios and they put out subpar product, and it doesn't sell. I think gamers are over AAA games. I think the root cause of all this is gamers are over AAA games. Here's another one. Alone in the Dark developer Pieces Interactive lays off employees. Hey, this is the guy from Stranger Things, isn't it? This is Hopper. Anyway, we're gonna talk about this. Before we get into it further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, massive crisis. No more games. You know, because all the AAA studios are shutting down. You know, again, there are games coming from other places, and people can play old games. The CEO of Saber Interactive warns of a potential crisis. He emphasized the parallels between the present financial crisis in the gaming industry they're experiencing and Hollywood's past troubles. Well, Hollywood's in trouble too. The same reasons. AAA gaming and Hollywood are in the same boat for the same reason. They overspent on garbage product that nobody wanted, and then they had to lay people off because people were withholding their dollars. They're like, we're not going to buy this stuff. And the venture capital ran out, so we couldn't artificially keep these companies going anymore. They had to pay for themselves. He suggests that the rising layoffs and subsequent game cancellations present a difficult landscape. Fears are growing that these labor setbacks might precipitate a content drought, potentially leading to a scarcity of exciting new releases in the future. Or all of the excitement is going to go to the AA game space and the indie space. Or people are going to go back and play old games. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about how kids today, Gen Z, they're playing old games. They're not playing AAA titles. I don't know who's playing AAA titles. I think, you know, older gamers, I guess, but like I think a lot of them are off-putting. I think some of them have gotten into like uncanny valley, beyond the gameplay, beyond the story elements, beyond the DEI. I think so many of them just look weirdly uncanny valley, and I'm happier with games that are more stylized. Massive layoffs and the cancellation of games. From Sega to Microsoft, industry giants are reducing their workforces at an alarming rate, raising concerns about the future continuity of game content. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God, what are we going to do without AAA titles? What are we going to do? I think we'll be fine. Again, there are more games out there than any one person can play in a lifetime. And there are more new indie titles popping up all the time, more AA titles popping up all the time. We really, truly do not need all these AAA titles. I actually, you could turn the game machine off today and never make another video game, and I would be happy because I could catch up to all these games I bought on Steam on sale that I never had time to play. I'm like, man, I got a bunch of RPGs sitting out there. I could play through those. One of the most significant cutbacks came from Microsoft, which laid off 2,000 employees after acquiring Activision. Stats paint an alarming picture of the state of the gaming industry. Oh my God, guys. By November of 2023, over 60 games were reportedly canceled from several companies. An example of the impact of the layoffs is seen in the disclosure of a pitch for a Spider-Man game by Insomniac that, because of staff cuts, never saw the light of day. Silver lining in the gaming industry, according to digitalchew.com. Despite widespread layoffs and cancellations, not all industry news is unfavorable. Major titles like Fortnite are still seeing significant growth. Again, that game is 10 years old now? New players are on the scene, such as Helldivers 2 and Palworld, and they're drawing attention and staking their claim in the gaming sector. Let's just look at some of these beautiful new pals that are coming out, and how long until Nintendo gets all ass mad about these pals. Look at that. Isn't it cute with a little mushroom head? People are just, oh my God, look, you can toast them. Isn't that cool? I love roasted portobello mushrooms. That frog is awesome. I want that frog. Look at these. Look at that. What's not to love? Who the hell needs AAA games when you've got this, right? Saber Interactive's big win. Now, this is Saber Interactive CEO exudes optimism for his company's future. Oh, yeah, that's right, because they bought themselves out. We're going to talk about that, yeah, because Saber Interactive bought themselves out of the Embracer group, and they're going to do the Knights of the Old Republic, right? They've got Warhammer coming out, and I don't know how the hell that's going to go. But, yeah, so let's talk about Embracer. Embracer basically became like the Disney of video games, and they just went around, they bought everything they could possibly buy, and they mismanaged it, and then they had to shut stuff down, sell stuff off. Saber's fine. But this is the CEO of Embracer, Lars Wingefors. I don't know how you pronounce his name. After 1,400 layoffs, 7 studios shut down, and 29 games canceled, Embracer CEO admits, I deserve some criticism. Whoopsie doopsie. Whoopsie doopsie. So the Embracer Group CEO, Lars Wingefors, is taking the brunt of responsibility when it comes to the company's most recent round of layoffs, studio closures, and game cancellations, as he should. Why is he still there? Responding to criticism fueled by the actions that they had a $2 billion investment deal that fell through. They shuttered 7 studios. They canceled 29 games. Responding to criticism, he told games industry, as a leader and an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame, and you need to be humble about it if you've made mistakes, and if you could have done something differently. I'm sure I deserve a lot of criticism, but I don't think my team or companies deserve all the criticism. I could take a lot of that blame myself, but ultimately I need to believe in the mission we set out that is still valid, and we're now enabling that by doing this new structure. Yeah, they're going to split Embracer into 3 groups. 3 different companies. I don't know what the plan was. Basically just buy shit and hope that something sticks to the wall. Now, my understanding is they had this $2 billion deal, and they were buying all this stuff in anticipation of that, and then it fell through. And as I tell people, being older and having been in business deals, you don't spend the money until you've got the check in hand and the check clears. And even then, there's a chance that somebody could come back and be like, yeah, we want our money back, or we want to cancel the deal, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you make sure you're in the clear before you don't go spend $2 billion buying a bunch of studios, running them into the ground, and then be like, oh, well, gee, I thought I was getting this $2 billion. No, if the papers weren't signed or whatever, they can back out. And a lot of times these companies actually have, like a kill switch, a kill clause built into the contracts, even if they're, in preliminary talks. It's cheaper to just buy out of the deal to back out of it than it is to go forward with it. But they own Lord of the Rings. Remember that. They own Lord of the Rings. They own Dark Horse. I have to wonder how much longer they're going to own Lord of the Rings. I have to wonder if, especially given what Amazon has done to it, if they won't sell Lord of the Rings to like Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers would love that. They definitely need something else. But I don't know if they got the money for it at this point. But, I don't know. I still feel I have the trust from many or all of my key entrepreneurs and CEOs that have joined the group. He said it's been difficult, but I think they all believe in the mission of Embracer. They also understand the world has changed and we need to change. It's painful. We can't make all the games we wanted to make 3 years ago, but we need to adapt. We will still make games. We still have one of the biggest, if not the biggest pipeline of games in the industry. We have great plans over the coming years or decades. Good luck with that. You're not going to be in charge. There's no way in hell this guy's going to be in charge of anything. And yeah, I think this just feels like the end of AAA gaming. This is coming from NPR, that workers are stressed out about crunch. That's real. That's a real thing that happens. These companies, but like, you're not going to have to worry about it for much longer, because I think most of these people are not going to have jobs for much longer. I think this is why they're freaking out on social media so much. This is why these Kotaku writers are acting up. This is why all these game devs have decided that Stellar Blade is the hill they want to die on. And before that was Hogwarts Legacy, because they know what is happening. The pendulum is swinging. Eventually, we will not have AAA studios. Eventually, Sony is not going to be the gatekeeper. Eventually, gamers are going to take control of the industry, and they're going to buy what they want to buy, support what they want to support. I don't know if in the future we're going to have a lot of consoles. I don't really see the point for it. Everybody's got a gaming PC, right? Then whatever Nintendo comes out with, but more and more, I think we're going to see gaming go to PC only. And at that point, you're not going to have these gatekeepers. So then they're going to try putting pressure on Valve, and you know what I'm saying? But the players are going to be the ones who ultimately have control. And they're trying to tell the players they're wrong. You're wrong if you don't like flat-chested Lara Croft. You're wrong if you don't think it's that big of a deal, or you think it's a big deal that they just put a little extra fabric on a character. It's like, no. That's not the problem. The problem is they promised no censorship and they censored. And it wasn't just the fabric on the costumes in Stellar Blade's case. It was the violence, the hard R thing, all the stuff that, what else are they going to censor? So I think what's going on is we are feeling the panic and fear that a lot of these developers and the journos that support them are feeling, that they know that their time in the gaming industry is about up. And a lot of them probably don't have the skill set or the means to go make indie games themselves. They can work in the industry as long as they can hide in the crowd, but they're not going to be able to go out, just 2 or 3 of them and go make a really awesome game like Minecraft or something like that. A lot of them. I'm not saying everybody, but that's the fear. Just like the comic book industry. Like, yeah, you're a comic book professional as long as you're working on Batman or Superman that somebody else created. But you can't leave and go start your own thing and be successful because nobody wants your own thing. You can work on Suicide Squad. You can work on, the new nerfed Lara Croft game, whatever, Tomb Raider game, whatever. You can be a translator or a DEI consultant or something. But if you have to do it on your own, you're not going to make it. And I think that is becoming a realization. So what they're doing is they're attacking the biggest YouTubers, the people that talk the most about the state of the video game industry right now. Asmongold, Grums, list goes on and on, right? Because these people are amassing a pretty sizable following, and they're going to sway the market. They're going to sway gamers and be like, hey, gamers, don't play this, play that. And we can't have that because things are not good. They're really not good. But this is why I think that they went after Palworld. It wasn't just Nintendo having a fit about it, although they were. It was the AAA gaming space. And I do believe that there were probably some people in AAA gaming that were rooting for the failure of Palworld, because they're like, well, this game makes us look bad. And Palworld actually graphically is a pretty good looking game. It really is. For a $30 game, it looks pretty good. It looks better than the last couple of Pokemon games. And that sets a very dangerous precedent. Same with Helldivers. Helldivers actually sets a pretty dangerous precedent too, because you're like, wait a minute. You're telling me you can make good, well-received games, you know, Lethal Company, et cetera, et cetera. You can make good, well-received games, but you can do them on a shoestring budget with a skeleton crew. Well, there goes my job, because I can't hide in the crowd anymore. You know, instead of having 300 people work on this game, we might have 30 people or 13 people or even 3 people. And you might get more out of a 3-person team than you will a 30-person or a 300-person team. And that's how it used to be. And remember, Minecraft was pretty much just one guy. A lot of the biggest games, the games that people are still playing today, a lot of the, you know, skeleton crew. So I think they're afraid. I think they really are. And Embracer was never sustainable, because these titles are not sustainable. When you're talking $300 million for Spider-Man 2 or whatever it cost, that's not sustainable. You can't make a lot of games like that. And if you have one misfire like Suicide Squad, it's over. Your studio's done. It's done. Like, you can't recover from that. Versus an indie game, it's like you put one out, it doesn't sell that well, that's okay. Do a Kickstarter for another one. Try again. Maybe something will stick. Again, Palworld, this was not their first game. They did the crafting game too, I think, before this one, which did okay. But this is the one that really blew up. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.